Hi everybody, welcome to the Scott Show Wrestling Show. We are here and live talking about Monday Night Raw from last night, which was the 23rd. We got lots of cool news coming up here today on all the different programs that we have, including we got Around the World, we got a little Brexit talk, we have Keep It Local, we have some plastic bag talk, which is really weird. But we have a lot of really cool things happening on the Scott Show podcast, so stick around. Check it out. Like, share, subscribe, all you can. tinyurl.com/the Scott Show to make it happen today here live. So we are talking about Monday Night Raw. I'm going to get to it. A little disappointed in Raw altogether, just because of how it was. It wasn't a really big selling point to me. The Fatal 5-Way didn't seem like it was all that important because you knew Seth Rollins. Well, I mean, you kind of know Seth Rollins and Bray Wyatt are going to end up in Hell in a Cell. So this is just kind of a match. So when you're setting up something like a pay-per-view and you're moving forward and saying, okay, well, you got to defend over here, you need to make sure, WWE, that you say, hey, if that person wins, they go on to face whoever in the cage. But instead they don't really do that all that great. So I'm immediately gonna, I'm not the thumbs up, thumbs down guy. That's Simon Miller. Big time shout out to Mr. Simon Miller, who is awesome. But I wanted to explain that just a little bit, that if you're going to come up with a championship match, you need to make sure that championship match has a little validity to it, and it doesn't. So I don't really care about the 5-way, and it wasn't a big selling point. But getting forward to what happened on Raw, Rollins came out, then Strowman came out, said, hey, you're gonna fight me again. We need to fight. I can beat you. And Rollins says, yeah, hey, I got all this other stuff going on. And Strowman just says, hey, we're fighting tonight. So there is a match tonight between Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins. But the first match coming up is the Viking Raiders versus Gallows and Anderson. I do got to get a kick out of the fact that this match was presented by Domino's Pizza. I didn't exactly get why it was just that match. Or however that worked, but I thought it was really weird. Hey, I love Domino's, but weird placement if you're going to give it to the Viking Raiders. So the OC comes out with AJ Styles. AJ causes a little distraction, gets kicked out. Cedric Alexander comes out to beat up AJ Styles, so that feud isn't done, which I'm okay with. Cedric needs something. He needs something to stay relevant. So good for him for sticking around in this feud. The Viking Raiders end up winning the match, which is really cool. And Robert Roode is walking backstage. Charlie Caruso, like I said. If I had taken notes for this, instead of reading it off of lordsofpain.net, of course, if I had taken notes for this, I wouldn't know who Charlie Caruso was compared to all the other ones, because she has no personality compared to all the others that also have no personality. So, get a personality. Anyway, Robert Roode says he's going to try to win the match. So, hey, good for him. Michael Cole went back to talk to the man, Becky Lynch, and says, hey, bring on Sasha, Hell in a Cell. So it's going to be an interesting match between those two at Hell in a Cell when it happens. In like 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we got Hell in a Cell, folks. Rusev comes out and faces EC3. EC3 coming off of a few wins, very big wins, of the 24/7 championship. He is now the four-time, I'm not going to say it 2 more times, but he's a 4-time WWE 24/7 champion. It does not matter here. Period. End of story. Rusev wins the match. There's chance for Lana, which is cool. But Rusev, I think, needs to go to SmackDown. Or he needs to do something really, really big. I would love to see him and Lesnar. I would love to see him and, anybody. I want to see Rusev get pushed to the higher limits of everything. So Dominic was back there with Rey Mysterio, or talked to, he knows his son is watching, so that's kind of a big deal there. So Rey and Mysterio in the 5-way. We had Sasha Banks and Nikki Cross. Sasha Banks, the boss time, ends up facing against one half of the women's tag team champions. And I'm a little confused on this feud, because when Sasha Banks came back, she said that it was the titles they were given were crap, pretty much. She kind of, took a, dump all over the titles, and now she's facing off against the tag team champions. I don't get it. I don't like it, because I would rather see Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss have a blood feud against the Iconics, because that would be, hold on, iconic. Yes, I kind of stole that from What Culture, but hey, I like those guys, so I'm gonna just say it too, because I like the Iconics. So I really just think that Sasha Banks should be fighting somebody else, Natalya, Amber Moon, whatever. But here she fights Nikki Cross and wins the match. Not really a lot to say about this match. I'm just kind of surprised that it's happening. Disappointing to me to see that the women's tag team championships are kind of second fiddle to pushing the champions or the challengers in the other round. So I'm a little disappointed. Would love to see more, but we'll just see what happens here. I'm not liking this at all. But like I said, Nikki Cross, she gave it her all. She's a hell of a wrestler, and we'll go from there. All right, so we move on to the idea that we are talking about the premiere for next week's Raw. They did talk to the Street Profits. They had their little thing talking about The Miz having a little baby. So congratulations to The Miz and Maurice for their new little one. And the other announcement is Miz TV segment for the season premiere. Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan. I think they'll team up to face off against the champs, Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler. I don't know. But we'll just see what happens. At the season premiere, they're going to have Flair and Hogan on the show. So it's going to be kind of a big deal with that. Lacey Evans versus Ember Moon. Ember Moon, I like her. I'm kind of bored with Lacey Evans only because they threw her into the title feud so quickly. So they're starting to set up this Natalya versus Lacey Evans thing. And Evans actually uses the sharpshooter to tap out Moon. So another unknown person goes up and talks to Natalya and says, hey, Evans better be prepared to tap out if she wants to. Go figure. We go to Firefly Funhouse. And we're really glad that you're our friends, because this is a friendship that will never, ever end. Firefly Funhouse, Bray Wyatt and the Puppets, Rambling Rabbit, and Huskus the Pig. If I've not talked about this too much, but Huskus the Pig is supposed to represent Husky Harris, the former I can't figure it out in my head. The former way that or gimmick that Bray Wyatt was given was Husky Harris when he first came in. So Huskus the Pig is from that. They're fighting over Seth Rollins' figure. Bray Wyatt breaks it in half and says, sharing is caring, folks, which I thought was pretty funny. Carmella comes out with R-Truth, says that she cannot handle it anymore. She needs a break from the whole deal of going to the ring all the time with R-Truth and hiding in the championships and all that other jazz. So, with that comes the idea that she's tired and she wants a break. And then Truth went to go hug her, and she rolled Truth up for the 24/7 championship title. Now, I'm not a fan, and I will scream at Impact all the time about this. I'm not a fan of intergender wrestling title matches. I'm not. But the WWE 24/7 Championship, kind of a jobber joker title anyway. I mean, come on, EC3 former 4-time, yes, now I said it 4 times, champion, did not get any music and got beat up by Rusev in like a minute. So, go figure. I think it's kind of cool because it was Carmella as the champion, and they did this little thing where Carmella tried to give R-Truth a piggyback ride. That didn't exactly work. But the female superstars were chasing after Carmella, which I think is kind of cool. It'll give them a little shot to be the champions. I want to see Billie Kay and Peyton Royce as the champion, or just Billie Kay. Because Peyton Royce probably got some heat backstage for marrying that idiot that she did. Whatever. But give Billie Kay a chance. That's all I'm saying. Alright, we move on to Corbin versus Gable. And, interesting match here with those two. So, I want to see what happens. But Gable wins by DQ after getting hit with the scepter. You become king of the ring, it's kind of a push. But then you go back to facing the opponent that you beat for that role, and it's just kind of a thing. But before they did start the match, and I want to get back to this, they had Sami Zayn talking up the Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura. So, there's a thing going on there, so, yeah. Well, anyway, so they did have the Authors of Pain come out and do a little vignette. They actually got up from their chair, which was really cool, and went and attacked 2 superstars. Now, apparently it was Heath Slater and No Way Jose. When I had seen it, I didn't see if it was No Way Jose or not, whatever, but I did see it was Heath Slater. And they beat up, the AOP beat him up. So, I would love to see what happens next with that. The AOP are an amazing tag team. Now they're back from injury. So, there you go. Fatal 5-way elimination match. Number 1 contender for the Universal Championship. Now, Rey Mysterio, Ricochet, Robert Roode, AJ Styles, and Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, you have 5 wrestlers in there. 3 of them are champs. Roode, Styles, Nakamura. So, interesting match. Just got to say that for, whatever. Ricochet was eliminated first, which I thought was interesting. I thought they were going to give him a little bit more of a push, but they eliminated Ricochet first. Go figure. I would love to see him on SmackDown. I think that he would be a big deal on SmackDown, by the way. So AJ and Roode, some fans actually started a TNA chant. I'm surprised some of them remember it. So that was interesting. Nakamura got eliminated from AJ. AJ got eliminated from Bobby Roode. And then Rey Mysterio hits the 619 and the splash. And covers Roode to be the new number 1 contender. So Rey Mysterio going to get a title shot at the season premiere. Folks, I would love to see them steal something from Japan. I'm probably going to bring it up sometime soon when it comes to King of Wrestling, or when it comes to that big match. But Liger did a really cool thing where he unmasked, and he had like this face paint on, and he turned into like a monster. That would be cool to see Ray join Wyatt. Like it's ever going to happen, but it'd still be sweet as heck. So, Seth Rollins and Mysterio, I'm sure, Rollins is excited to face off against him. But, it's Braun, then Ray, then Wyatt. And he's still saying he's going to face off against Bray Wyatt in Hell in a Cell. So he's saying that he's going to beat Rey Mysterio next week. He's already just kind of going past that. And I just don't like that. I just dislike that a lot. Just saying. Rollins and Strowman, they come out non-title match, so we know that that's not going to, no titles are going to change there. But it comes to be the coolest part of the night where The Fiend comes out to face off and give the mandible claw to Braun Strowman. They did a really cool part to this. So they had a decent match. But everybody's talking about The Fiend and how he came out and gave Strowman the business. And the really cool part about this whole deal is that he gave the mandible claw, and then he did it again. He stared down Rollins, who was obviously hurt from the match, but they did the mandible claw twice on... They did the mandible claw twice onto Braun Strowman, which made him look like $1 million. I mean, you gotta, if you're gonna push the guy a little bit, you gotta give him a little bit of love. There you go. So, Raw goes off the air with Wyatt. Hopefully something will happen next week. Maybe Wyatt will jump Mysterio. Maybe we'll get into that whole thing like that. And we'll see what happens. So, we'll go with that. So, I do have to say thank you for listening to the Scott Show podcast. We are really growing, in fact. I'm really excited how we're growing so far. And we got NFL picks tomorrow, SmackDown Live tomorrow, lots of really cool things. We got 2 more today, talking about plastic bags and Brexit, something I never thought I would put together. But we will do that here live on The Scott Show. Check us out, tinyurl.com/The Scott Show, or you can just go to thescottshow.com. Check us out, send us some love, and we'll see you guys very soon here on thescottshow.com. Live on The Scott Show.